On September 17, 1944, the largest airborne operation in history began over the Netherlands. Nearly 35,000 paratroopers dropped from the sky to seize a series of bridges across Dutch rivers and canals. The plan was audacious, a 100-kilometer corridor through enemy territory, held by lightly armed airborne troops, to be relieved within 48 hours by an armored column driving north. If it worked, war would be over by Christmas. It did not work. Operation Market Garden was Field Marshal Bernard Montgomery's plan to end the war before winter. After the breakout from Normandy in August 1944, Allied armies had advanced so rapidly that supply lines were stretched to breaking point. Montgomery argued for a single concentrated thrust into Germany across the Rhine, rather than the broad front advance favored by Supreme Commander Eisenhower. He proposed seizing bridges at Eindhoven, Nijmegen, and Arnhem. An armored corridor would then drive across Holland into the German plains beyond. The airborne component, Market, went mostly well at first. American paratroopers from the 101st Airborne secured the Eindhoven bridges. The 82nd Airborne seized the bridge at Nijmegen after fierce fighting. But the northern end of the corridor, the bridge at Arnhem, was assigned to the British 1st Airborne Division. And at Arnhem, everything went wrong. Unknown to Allied planners, 2 SS Panzer divisions were resting and refitting near Arnhem. Intelligence warnings had been received but largely dismissed. The British paratroopers dropped too far from the bridge, 7 miles away, and their radios malfunctioned almost immediately, destroying communications. A single battalion under Lieutenant Colonel John Frost reached the north end of Arnhem Bridge and held it against overwhelming force. The rest of the division was pinned down by SS troops before it could reach him. The Ground Relief Force, XXX Corps, Armored Column, was supposed to reach Arnhem in 48 hours. It arrived 9 days too late. The single road north was a causeway lined with fields unsuitable for tanks, easily blocked by German anti-tank guns and infantry. Every delay, every obstacle pushed the schedule further back. Frost's men at the bridge held for 4 days against SS tanks and infantry without reinforcement, their ammunition running out, their wounded accumulating in a building that was gradually demolished around them. On September 21, what remained of the force at the bridge surrendered. 3 days later, the survivors of the British 1st Airborne were evacuated across the Rhine under cover of darkness. Of the approximately 10,000 British paratroopers who had landed, only around 2,400 made it back. The rest were killed or captured. Market Garden failed for multiple reasons: faulty intelligence, communications failures, over-optimistic planning, and a ground advance that was far slower than expected. But it also failed because the fundamental premise was too ambitious. A 100-kilometer corridor could not be held by lightly armed troops for long enough for a single road to carry an army. Montgomery had underestimated the enemy and overestimated his own forces. The failure of Market Garden meant the war would continue through winter. The Rhine was not crossed until March 1945, 6 months later. Thousands died in the interim, in the Battle of the Huitjen Forest, in the Ardennes during the Battle of the Bulge, in the grinding advance through Germany itself. Operation Market Garden became a study in what happens when boldness outstrips planning, when intelligence is wished away, and when the gap between ambition and logistics is too great to bridge. The paratroopers who fought and died at Arnhem were not let down by their courage. They were let down by a plan that asked more than any plan could deliver. The bridge at Arnhem stands today, renamed John Frost Bridge. It is a memorial not to failure, but to what was asked and nearly given.